We have gone from the top of North America, Prudhoe Bay, Dead Horse, Alaska, way above the Arctic Circle, all the way down to squiggle around Utah, Arizona, and now we are in San Diego, California. In this episode, we're going to cover getting our van ready for the greatest road trip in the world, the Pan American Highway, and we are going to go from the top of Alaska all the way to the tip of Argentina. All right, good morning, Arizona. We are here in Quartzsite. We are filling up not only our main tank, but our secondary reserve tank. We have a 28-gallon reserve. We're filling it up because we are headed to California, the land of beautiful weather and terrible gas prices. So we are gonna fill up our Agile off-road 28-gallon reserve tank as we're on our way to Agile off-road right now, where I honestly feel like this tank makes us our money back as a good investment is when we drive into California. Being able to fill up double tanks will hopefully allow us to maybe not even have to buy gas in California. We'll see. We'll probably have to fill up before we go into Mexico, but it's really nice to get the cheap gas here at the border and then roll into Cali completely full with double tanks. And just yesterday, our toilet system, the cassette toilet that we have here in our Revel, which has worked beautifully for us for years, the flapper, the little thing that closes the toilet off itself, that seals it up, pretty important part of it, just quit working. It's basically disconnected and it's like, it's broken. So we are gonna go to La Mesa RV today too and pick up a new cassette toilet, which we really need. So that's our goal today, is to make it into San Diego, get to the new toilet, head over to Agile Off-Road and start the preparations for getting our van ready to go to the bottom of South America. It's gonna be a big trip and we gotta get it in tip-top shape. All right, we've made it to beautiful, sunny Southern California. Actually, it's raining. It's kind of weird to be here with it raining. That seems really odd. This is the place where we're gonna hopefully get a new toilet that's gonna fit our van. And let's go in here and see if they have the part we need.
All right.
Cross your fingers, because we really need our toilet to work. All right, we got a toilet. We're back in business, and that's gonna be really good. La Mesa is awesome. The guy that helped us, Marco, said that they stock usually about 6 of these toilets for Revels, and they can take up to 6 months to order them in. So they try to keep them on hand. All right, so there it is. We found a cassette toilet. These things are very elusive, hard to come by, but La Mesa had it for us in Southern California. Also got a free hot chocolate. Hits the spot. Good morning, Southern California. We are here at the center of the adventure van universe at Agile Off-Road, and I am wearing my gray Patagonia Micro Poof that I use to work on the van, and that is exactly what we've been doing the last week. So I'm going to take you on a tour and I'm going to show you what we've done to our van to get it ready to go. I just had to put on a front license plate holder, which I haven't had one since I put my winch on, because my winch blocks where it normally would go. But down here we've put a new one. As we get into southern Mexico and down into Central America, all the cars are going to have front license plates. And it's going to be really important that we fit in and we aren't drawing extra attention from police and whoever else when they see our vehicle coming down the road and we're missing a license plate. So we're putting on this holder that we're getting here at Agile Off-Road, and it's going to allow us to mount a front license plate on the front of our Sprinter van, even though we have a winch that's where our license plate would normally reside. So this is going to keep us out of trouble. So last time we were in Mexico, one of the big problems we had was filling diesel. Our filler neck on our Sprinter van is one of the restricted ones, meaning they come in 2 sizes. They come in the small one that actually keeps you from being able to put gasoline in your tank, which seems like a nice thing. But when you go to a truck stop or as you're traveling overseas, you'll often only find the big filler nozzles at a lot of the diesel pumps. So we were really restricted into what we could put into our van, and we had to, a couple places, really search until we found this little adapter on Amazon made by Volkswagen. It gives you like a little cheater that allows you to go into the restricted neck and still put a full-size diesel filler in there. And that worked, but it's a lot of commitment to one little piece of plastic and not being able to refuel. So this trip to South America, we're gonna go ahead and swap our filler neck out for the big unrestricted size, and then we're gonna be able to fill with anything. And that's gonna be really nice. But it also gives you the ability to fill your tank much faster using the high capacity filler nozzles. So I'm getting ready to swap this out right now for the unrestricted one. This is the new filler neck, and you can see it's totally non-constricted in here, and it just flows right into the diesel tank. So I'm getting ready to drop this one, and there's just a bolt here, and there's a hose clamp here, and I'm gonna be able to pull out the old one and then bolt the new one right into place. Gotta fish this thing out of here somehow. There. This came out relatively easy. You can see how it's constricted in here. It's got those little flaps. I'm sure you guys have seen that before, where you stick the nozzle in and the flaps open. And that is a great safety thing, but in South America and even in Mexico, you can't find the diesel fillers that are that size. And if they try to put a bigger one in, it won't open the flaps. So it's kind of a safety thing that's great in the States, great in Canada, great in Europe even. But down south, it's gotta go. All right, that was pretty easy. We got that done in about 20 minutes. And this is gonna be one of those things I think that we're gonna be kicking ourselves for not doing it sooner. If you remember from our Baja series last year, where we went down to Baja, our friend George, we've met up with him. He has been to Africa, he has been to Europe, all in his Revel van. He has racked up quite an impressive list of places that he's taken his van now, and he is headed back south with us.
Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, George.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, good to see you.
I'm awake.
I'm glad you're here with us.
I'm glad to be here.
You've been logging some miles.
Woo. Yeah.
So you got a little work to do today on your van as well?
I do. I got a couple little things I got to figure out. Most importantly, the Starlink, right?
Yeah, I guess George has been having some Starlink issues. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Seems to be maybe a cable or something got some water in it.
It didn't work last night.
Oh, it didn't?
This morning it works fine.
Oh, maybe it only works during the day. It only works during working hours.
That could be. That could be. So yeah, we're gearing up for the big trip.
We're gearing up. We're getting ready to go. You've been here with us this week.
Yeah.
It's been a long week at Agile, but aren't these guys awesome? I mean, they're totally taking care of both of us.
They're fantastic.
And getting us ready to roll.
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, we'll get out of their hair today, and this will be it, and we can head south tomorrow.
I've never felt so at home sleeping in a parking lot.
I know. We have showers. We have a washing machine.
That's right.
We, I mean, gosh, they even on Fridays and Mondays they bring bagels. So we had bagels yesterday morning, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this place is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Agile is about to open, and I am gonna get to work on the van, doing the last few things. Thank you. We're in the toy store. This place is awesome. Look at this. Look at all the cool stuff. We got Shieldman seats, ARB gear galore. We've got the Agile suspension, the rip kits. Look at all this. Okay, it is really hard sometimes to leave Agile off-road because you have all the amenities that a traveler wants. In this cool little closet here, there is a washer and dryer available for people who are here getting stuff done to their vans. There's also a shower. So you have all the amenities you want here when you get your van worked on. It's nice to be able to do your laundry, do some other things while you're waiting, and it's not just complete downtime. Again, you set up, George?
Boy, are they.
Yeah.
Look at all these fun things to have.
I know. we are going to be putting on a ton of parts. This is mostly just general maintenance, things that wear out, things that just need attention over time. We're just going to get everything in tip-top working order, and we're doing a whole front brake job today. It's been a while. I did the backs when I was in Oregon a month or so ago, and now it's time. The fronts aren't in terribly bad shape, but this is just going to ensure that we make it to Argentina without having to think about brakes again. Fingers crossed. Okay, it's jacked up now. I'm gonna pull the wheels off and start it on the brake job. Okay, next I'm gonna put on the Agile Off-Road Wheel Speed Sensor Guard. This is your wheel speed sensor. And as you can see, if you're driving through, I don't know, brush, something like that, you know, something could come up here and whap and break this speed sensor off. If that happens, you're kind of in a bad spot because your vehicle will go into limp mode, and then you're gonna have to limp it out of there and go get a new speed sensor. So this guard should help reduce the chances of that ever happening. I just did new front brakes, new parking brakes, which is kind of a funny thing to replace, but hey, they wear out too. And I'm about to take this thing for a test ride, make sure everything's stopping, working, and ready to go southbound. All right, this is a shout out to our friend Chad at Living the Van Life. Here is his Westie that started the whole thing for him. This is really cool to see this van firsthand. It's just parked here at Agile for a little bit. I don't know where Chad is. He's off, I'm sure, doing something great. And we've been gawking at it while we're here. So hope you're doing good, Chad, and it's fun seeing your Westie, and I hope we see you really soon.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning. We're sitting here in the sun trying to stay warm because it is definitely quite a bit cooler in the shade.
Over there.
What are you up to today?
Today I am going to try to get more of these door locks installed. Today we're putting in a Thunderbolt deadbolt locking system. This gives us a secondary line of defense in locking our doors. We're going to have now burly deadbolts that lock independent of the regular van locks. So even if someone smashes out our windows, they still won't be able to open our doors. This is just going to give us an added layer of confidence when we park our van in weird places, especially when we go off and we maybe leave it for a couple of days as we're doing an adventure in the backcountry, and it's going to be a really nice peace of mind. Okay, here we go. This is probably The scariest thing I'm gonna do in the lifetime of me owning this Revel is I'm getting ready to drill a hole in the door. You might ask, why would you drill a hole in your door? And it's only because I need to do this for our locks. It has a keyed release, and by drilling this hole allows me to put where the key goes in, and it gives us the ability to open these amazing locks if we get locked out. So here we go, let's drill a hole. All right, here we go. This is commitment. All right, we're gonna drill a little hole, then we're gonna drill a really big scary hole. Here we go. Woo! All right, onto the big scary hole.
All right, you're committed now.
Okay, my only fear now is drilling further than I need to with this step bit. So that's at a half. All right, here we go. Woo! Oh, I hate doing that. I hate doing that. Okay, now this contraption has to go through the hole, and not only through the hole, but it has to fit, and not like not have enough room to fit inside the door cavity. Yes.
Fit?
Fits. It's not hitting anything. I think this will work. All right, let's just get the hardware on the back side. Yes, we have locks. I've shown you some things in this video that we've done, and some of them we were just so busy doing stuff that we weren't able to film it. And I know a lot of you guys have already asked me questions about what are you doing to your van for preparations, what kind of parts are you bringing, all these super valid, interesting questions. So I want to run over some of that right now, and I have a list here on my phone. Now these are parts and things that we have replaced. The first thing we did, which you saw, is the front license plate holder. That's pretty key. Then I did a whole front brake service, new pads, rotors. Then in the back, when I did my backs a couple weeks prior, I noticed that my parking brakes were in bad shape, so we replaced the parking brakes. So a critical thing that I think we should have done a long time ago is replace our rear differential cover with the Agile off-road cast iron differential cover that I'm affectionately calling the Iron Man, because it is burly. This thing can take a beating. You can jack your van up off of it and you don't have to worry about bending anything. It's solid and it's gonna really serve us well with the places that we're going. Let's see, I replaced air filters. So I added anti-shatter film that goes on the inside of our windows. And if somebody tries to break into our van by breaking the front windows, it is just gonna make it inconvenient for them. It's not gonna totally keep them out, but it is gonna make it, all the glass is gonna stay as one big sheet, and they're gonna have to just bust through that thing enough until they can finally tear it all out. And I'm hoping that's just enough of an inconvenience that somebody maybe will break our window and then keep moving on and maybe not ransack the rest of our van. But there's another side of that. We've also added Thunderbolt locks. Now these are secondary deadbolt locks for our Sprinter van. They cover all the doors. It's a whole separate locking mechanism. So when I hit the Thunderbolts, these deadbolts engage and you cannot open that door even if you gain access to the inside of the van. You can pull the door handle, you can flip the lock, you can pull up the little plunger. It doesn't matter. It's a whole separate locking mechanism and the door will not open. So even if somebody breaks our glass, they get through our protective film, they climb over the broken glass and get into the van, they still can't open the door and easily, get things in and out. So I'm hoping that's just another line of defense. And when we ship our van on the Ro-Ro ship, where we have to go over the Darien Gap and we have to take it from the tip of Argentina, wherever we go next, we are then going to be able to build a bulkhead in here and then lock up the back from the front of our van and basically limit access of the ship hands and the people who drive your van around on the dock. So that's going to allow us to maybe keep some things a little more secure. We're going to obviously take our super valuable things with us on the plane as we're flying, but the other things we can maybe have a little more confidence that no one's going to mess with them. I also went and replaced all the lug bolts on my wheels the whole way around. We've had these lug bolts for quite a while, and honestly I trusted them, but Agile has some new lug bolts that come from Europe and they just seemed a little more stout. And rather than worrying about breaking a lug bolt off somewhere, I just went ahead and replaced them. And I did keep some of my old ones for backups in case we need them. We've got some extra lug bolts. I also have lug nuts. I've got the ones that are on there now, and then I have some extras. Now I'm not carrying a full set, but I've got 6 or 8 extras just in case we lose one or one gets stripped or whatever it might be. I also upgraded the air lines on my ARB compressor to the braided steel ones. We had just the plastic lines and they'd served us well. We hadn't had any issues with it, but we took this visit to Agile as a chance to just upgrade those, and they handle the heat and the pressure a little better over time. And I think that's going to be a good upgrade. We decided that with all the off-road driving we've done that we should check our water tank and make sure that it was securely attached. And we opened up the doghouse there on that side and we got in there and we realized that yes, our water tank was a little loose, and we took the time to really crank that down, lock tight those bolts really good, and make sure that it doesn't get any vibrations or rattles and that it's going to stay put. Another awesome thing that we've added to our van is a Guzzle H2O. Now, do you guys know what this is? Well, if you don't, I'm going to tell you right now. Guzzle H2O is a water purifying system for our vans. So we have a filtration, an actual filter that the water goes through that takes out all the big stuff, and then it also goes through a UV filter that uses UV light to kill any harmful bacterias or even viruses that are in there, and it's going to basically render this water completely inert and safe, and it also makes it taste really good. So we're excited because, you know, even in the US, we get sometimes funky water through a funky hose and it has that terrible aftertaste. We are one of those people that drink the water out of our water tank. Not all of you guys do that, but we do, and 90% of the time we're totally happy with that. But we know now with this Guzzle H2O filter installed, we are going to be drinking perfect, beautiful tasting water every time. So we're super excited about that. We also added the Agile off-road rear step and skid plate. It is brand new. I think this is the very first one made, and it is super convenient. And another really cool feature of this skid plate is it's got 2 Baja Designs lights built into the back of it. So when I flip on my backup lights, which I have them wired to a separate switch on the dash, I now get 2 more lights in addition to the 2 other light forces that I have up top. I get these extra lights, and they are super bright, and it's just a really nice addition all the way around. Let's see, and then we replaced a few of the things that we just know are wear items. Probably the biggest one is the alternator pulley on our secondary alternator. Now, these alternators take a lot of abuse. They're running hard, they're charging, they're doing their thing. These pulleys are known to kind of wear out over time, and we want to make sure that our power system, you know, is going to keep us charged up so we can keep making these videos for you guys. And so we replaced that pulley. Okay, and you saw in our last video where we blew a turbo intercooler hose. Well, I want to report that the hose that we put in there in Flagstaff, Arizona is running great. We have no issues. We have now gotten 2 more hoses, a left and a right. So it's both of the intercooler hoses, and we've got those on board as spares if we need them. I checked out the hose on the right, which is the one that we didn't have a problem with yet, and it seems to be in great shape. So I've got my fingers crossed that we won't even have a problem there. When I was doing the differential cover to put new oil in the rear differential, and then I went ahead and did new oil in the front differential. So all the way around, our gear oil is fresh and new and should be ready to go. That'll be something that I'll probably check again once we get to South America, maybe in Argentina. I'll give that a look over again and probably swap it out, but we're good to go on that. So I went ahead and did a service on our transmission just to make sure that it's in tip-top shape. That is not something you want to have a problem with. And so we went ahead and did a full transmission fluid, filters, bolts, the whole thing that goes into a transmission service. We did that as well. Now I didn't do that one myself. That's a little more complicated. I thought about doing it myself, but you need a pump and you need a few things. So I took it to a local place in San Diego and they took care of me. Moving forward, I also changed the fuel filter. Now fuel filters are something that you really can't change often enough, especially if you're in places where you're maybe getting questionable diesel quality. It's the first line of defense to just keeping your engine happy. And we have 2 spare fuel filters on board, and we're gonna try to keep it that way because when we get to Peru, Bolivia, places like that, we don't know what kind of fuel we're gonna be getting, and that fuel filter is gonna really help keep things running and hopefully keep our engine happy and safe. And on top of that, we did a service A on the van at our Mercedes dealer in Oklahoma City. They looked it over, we told them what we were doing, and they looked it over a little more than a typical service A just to see if they saw any problems, and they didn't. And so they did the oil change, they did the fuel filter, they did all those basic things that they do with a service A. So that's really good that we've got that taken care of. Okay, a lot of you guys have asked about our axle breakdown. Now in the Arctic, we broke our right axle. The rear axles on the Mercedes are a left and a right side, separated by the differential. And obviously we replaced the right side to get us out of the Arctic. You can go watch that video right here. It's quite an epic journey to do that. But as we were coming back, we got so many questions from you guys saying, hey, are you gonna replace the left axle now that you've done the right axle? And honestly, we were traveling, we were moving, and there wasn't a really convenient place to do that. It seemed like it was solid. But once we got to Oklahoma and I got to my dad's place with a good shop, I decided that before we go to South America, I was just gonna go ahead and replace the left axle. Now I've made a little short video that I'll be releasing as a YouTube short that shows that process. It's really not that much to it, and honestly, doing an axle the second time was so much easier than the first time. It took me about 4 hours to do the whole thing, and that was with filming it. It's not a bad job, really. But yes, we do have 2 new axles now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're set and we aren't gonna have any more axle issues. But I feel like maybe these axles are something that you wanna do around 100,000 miles, between 100 and 120. It seems like that people I've talked to have had problems with this. That's when the problem is popping up. So if you guys are in that boat where you're getting close to 100,000 miles, it could be something to think about, something to look at. And you'll see there's something I found when I replaced the second axle that I think is a tall tale sign of what happened to my first axle. And I'm gonna leave that for you guys to see in the next video. But yes, we did replace the axle and everything is running like a top right now. We're super happy with that. All right, now let's go through some of my list here. Now, I apologize now if I've missed something on here because there has been a lot of things that we have thought through and bought to be prepared for this trip. But I'm gonna run you through a few of the parts that we're bringing. We have 2 40 amp big blade style fuses for our ARB compressor. So if we blow those, we've got backups. We also have a couple of the ARB relays that are inside of the compressor that go out occasionally. So we've got those covered. Let's see, we've got an extra belt tensioner and an extra pulley for the engine. We went over a list of things that we were thinking about with Aaron at Rome Rig, and if you guys haven't met with Aaron, he is a genius with this kind of stuff. And if you guys are ever needing electrical things done or power systems in Revels, he's a great guy to talk to. And as we were talking, we're like, you know, we can't carry spares for everything or we're just gonna be so overburdened. But we thought, what are the key things that if they went out, they would absolutely shut us down? And then what are the things that might just be an inconvenience that we could get parts for later? And so those things that would shut us down are the things we focused on getting parts for. So with that said, we brought a full alternator with another pulley on it. So we've got that covered. We have, let's see here, we have an extra charge controller. We have an extra alternator belt. We have different relays and fuses that are used in the system. And with that said, I think that we're gonna be able to keep our charging system hopefully up and running and happy through this whole journey. So thanks to Aaron at Roam Rig for helping us troubleshoot this type of stuff. And then on top of that, the guys at Agile helped us put together a goodie bag with a bunch of different bolts and nuts and parts for suspension and other little weird things that might go wrong on a Sprinter van. And really, on a van like this, there's a handful of different size nuts and bolts. And if you have some of those, no matter where it falls off, you can kind of improvise things along the way. So I feel really happy that we have kind of a selection of some spare parts just to use wherever we might need them. And that's even covering U-bolts for the leaf springs and the shock bolts that connect it to the frame, all those sort of things. We've got backups of those. Now, if you want to learn more about my repair kit, there's a separate video that I did a few months back that I'm going to put a link to it right here. And this is my standard in the United States repair kit. And it's right here. Now, all this stuff that I'm talking about, I wouldn't probably carry all this if we're just traveling around North America. I think that's kind of overkill. But where we're going, we want to make sure that we have what we need. And if we go to a mechanic somewhere on the road, that if they can't find a part, that maybe we have those critical parts with us, and then I can supply them and just have them help me with the maintenance and the labor. So don't think that half the back of your van has to be a parts store. It doesn't. But if you are going to really remote places, it is good to be prepared. If you guys wouldn't mind, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Ring the little bell. That'll give you notifications of when we make future videos, because we are going to have some awesome videos coming to you as we keep going south. South into Mexico, south into Central America, and then we're going to make the jump over it with a ship all the way into Colombia, and then keep on going all the way to the tip of Argentina. And we want to bring you guys along on the journey. If you want to be a bigger part of our journey, consider becoming one of our patrons. Patreon is a place where you can support creators who are doing content that you enjoy. It's a way to give them a high five and to inspire them to keep making the content that you enjoy. And with what we do, we like to create field guides. So when we go to Baja, we're going to be updating our Baja field guide from last year with all the current information, and it's going to share with you all the questions that we wished we would have known before we ever went to Baja. It's going to give you our favorite camp spots, favorite restaurants, favorite off-road drives we've done. You're going to get it all. And you get that as part of being a patron. We've done them in Alaska, and we're going to keep doing them as we go south, so you guys can have the information to plan your own trip down the road. And you guys, I know this is kind of a strange video because most of my videos are travel based and we're moving around and we're doing these beautiful drone shots and we're in these awesome places, but this is part of it. This is part of this type of journey, and I wanted to show you guys the behind the scenes and let you see what goes in to going to these wild places. It's not just going around and doing all this fun stuff, but there is kind of the behind the scenes, if you will, of getting a vehicle ready, getting it prepared to do such an adventure like this. And this is what this video is all about. All right, so there's a broad overview of us getting ready for the next leg of our trip south. Tomorrow, we are gonna blast across the Mexican border into the Baja Peninsula, and we're gonna go back to some favorite places, and we're gonna go to some new places, and we're gonna take you guys along for the ride. And I hope you come with us. But for now, I hope we see you guys somewhere over the horizon. Take care, guys. Hopefully we see you down in Baja or somewhere else.